Hey, good day to everyone. Brent Wessler here with Kodak Alaris, another webinar for our weekly Azure and Document AI services. Today, we're going to be focusing on the new Document Intelligence 3.1 framework that was released for general availability from Azure AI Document Intelligence. There's been some rebranding. The form recognizer, as we used to call it, is now called Document Intelligence. And as you can see here on this web page, these are all the new features added in the 3.1 version. As you can see, a couple pre-built new models. The pre-built models are embedded knowledge bases of, in this particular case, contracts, U.S. tax documents. It allows us to leverage the predefined recognition models at a penny a page for pay-as-you-go versus 5 cents a page for your custom. You also see here they've added Office support, so it supports Office documents and HTML documents for the OCR and barcode recognition, which is now part of it. But today I'm going to be focusing primarily on the high resolution documents. This is something they just came out with to support very small print that might be on large format documents, which is pretty cool. I've seen Azure really work extremely well with cursive and ICR in very fuzzy image quality. So clearly they're adding quite a bit there, as well as new invoice model locales. So based on the country, it's going to different synonyms for matching things like purchase orders and order number and things like that. I'll just roll down here. You're going to see there's a few new analyze options. So when you do analyze, that's basically Azure's way of extracting text. It highlights it in yellow on the screen. You can see here you get a little more control over what it's actually doing. The auto labeling feature. So once you train a bunch of different models, you can then test it out. And then when you actually run, you can auto label, meaning you've built a model based on a number of samples. And then when you bring it in, a new document, you can run an auto label using that model, which is nice. This just allows you to not have to map the field. So you can auto label it, see what it actually pulls. And if it pulls and extracts the data from the right locations, there's no need to manually go through and click on each field and label it. One of the things that I'm going to actually just demonstrate here is this new auto labeling tables. I love this. Each of the different interfaces, and I did a video a few months ago around Abby, Google, and Azure and how they do table extraction. I like how Azure kind of uses the table element and allows you to define the table versus having to click on each column. So we're going to look at that. And then again, they added a testing feature. So you can basically test using the model that you've built. Again, very similar to what an auto label would be. So let's take a look. We're going to go into an existing project I have here. Basically, what you see here is a delivery note. And you can see when I've run layout on this, running layout is, you'll see it actually adds this yellow kind of background. This allows us to actually extract that information. But you'll see here, there's a little table icon here. So when I click on that, you see how it shows what it would extract. And then you have now with 3.1, this auto label blue button, which I can now select. And I'm going to create a new table. I'm going to call it order table 2. And then I'm going to select table here. I'm going to select dynamic. Dynamic means that you don't know how many rows there's going to be. Fixed is obvious. It's templated. It's always going to be the same amount. So we'll hit continue. You can see what it's extracting and the actual fields. And up here, you're able to rename them. If you do rename, you just have to hit the enter key so it saves it. When it comes to info input, we don't support the ability to do spaces in the actual column name. So what I'm going to come in here and is just rename this and then hit enter. Again, I'm going to do that over here. Okay, enter. And you'll see now I can hit finish and it automatically populates that table. So the old way of doing that would be you actually have to create a table. So I'll show you the old way. I'm just going to add a quick table field, call it order table 3. Great. Okay, the old way of doing this would be opening up the table and then manually clicking in the columns. Okay, and then you'd have to actually add additional inserted columns. And you can see here, I want to grab the product code, call this product, and then highlight those, and then boom. So that's what you'd have to do. And then if there's a lot of line items, you'd have to go and insert each row. Here's another example using multi-line. So again, we click. You're going to notice in this case, there's some deinterlaced lines. This quantity kind of screws things up. So when you get to the auto label, say invoice table, you're going to see here when we do that, it's pulling in the header information as the actual row of data. So we don't want to do that. So we can actually uncheck those items. And you can see here, if we scroll to the right, you notice that the bottom 2 lines. So by doing this, it allows us to have a little more control over the output. As you can see here, to test out, you have the test window. And here we're going to just drag and drop a couple sample documents in that I already set up. And we have here, I'm just going to drag and drop. And then you can see it's running this watercard model. If I hit run analysis, it's basically going to go and start to extract all the information using our model that we built. And as you can see here, the model we built, it automatically extracted all that relative information. Now, the analyze options is this new feature that they've added so that you can define, whether it's all pages or the current document. So if you are bringing a large sampling set, you can define how that analyze capability is going to work. Thank you for watching today's session. Please do me a favor and follow and like this post.